Welcome to a new episode of TechRill. In today's episode, we are going to explore how GitHub Copilot Agent Mode works in Codespaces. GitHub Codespace is a cloud-based development environment that lets you code directly in the cloud using Visual Studio Code. We can interact with the Codespaces either through browser or on your desktop. These are instant dev environments which can spin up pre-configured configurations in a seconds. Recently, GitHub announced the agent mode support in Codespaces. With this announcement, with a single click, you can go from issue to implementation. Let us move to our application. I'm in a GitHub repository called Sales Dashboard, where we have an issue for implementing a pie chart to display market share of top 5 semiconductor companies. Here we have the step-by-step instruction how to proceed for this implementation or requirements. Sample data needs to be prepared, services and components needs to be created, UI development and the integration with dashboard. And a set of acceptance criteria is also defined. So define your issues. Once you are in issues, you have this option of Code with Copilot Agent Mode. This will span a code space. A single click on the Code with Copilot Agent Mode as part of the issue will open the code spaces. Meantime, let us see how the application looks like. Currently, the app is a sales dashboard with some sales data and monthly data. We are going to add one more pie chart which represents the market share data. That's a requirement captured as part of our issue. Let us move to the code spaces. Codespace is already loaded the project and Copilot is available as part of the installation. And the activation of extensions are going on. Let us increase the size. Moving to the agent mode. As you can observe, the issue is opened as part of the chat in the agent mode. By default, it's used the agent with the default model, that is GPT-4o. Loaded the agent mode with the current issue and planning. Copilot start planning. It start looking at the existing files to identify any of these files can be used. And it's identified there is a market share data is available. So Workspace is already have a sample file for the market share data. It's going to use that one. Going ahead and creating a pie chart component. This is a new Angular component requirement. Angular CLI is not available, so ng create pie chart is not created. Going ahead and installing the Angular CLI for generating a new component. Any dependencies in agent mode, that's a beauty. It looks for the dependencies, missing dependencies or new dependency requirements and go ahead and install that dependencies. In our case, Angular CLI is required for running a ng generate kind of component. Either you can go ahead this way or your repository have a pre-configuration of the code spaces. Using dev containers, you will be able to pre-configure the code spaces for automatically installing Angular CLI. All prerequisites will be automatically installed as part of your code spaces. Right now, we have used the default configuration, no prerequisite. So Copilot agent identified the requirement for the Angular CLI and installed and going to create a new component. It's created the pie chart component. Next, it's going to implement the logic to load and process CSV data. For that, a service is required. Went ahead and created a service. Angular or any other application, the data process is normally defined as part of a service layer. Once the service processes the data, it passes to the components. The service code development is in progress. The service market share service is completed, which pointing to the market share CSV file under assets folder. Now it's going ahead and updating the pie chart. Pie chart component is already added here and the implementation is pending. Agent is going to update this one. Agent start working on the pie chart component.ts file. As the fundamental of agent structure is minimum intervention from a human being. The agent is taking the decisions based on the context and the kind of evaluation it's doing. In case there is an error comes or vulnerabilities, requirement for a dependencies, agent is ready to handle such requirements and going ahead and implementing your requirement. Here pie chart component and the corresponding HTML got updated. Now this needs to be updated as part of our dashboard component for display. Updating the dashboard component. Chart.js is not installed, so it's going ahead and installing chart.js for displaying the different charts. And at the end, if you notice, it's going for a linting. This is not part of your default behavior. Linting and formatting is part of the setup we have done. These two are part of our coding instruction. In the instruction file, we have mentioned that any changes should end with lint and format. That's why Copilot Agent also taken the instructions from here. It applied over the coding standard when it developed the code. After the entire implementation, Copilot Agent picked the other instructions for lint and format. Looks like the format command is wrong and it's errored out, but at least Copilot Agent is able to look at the commands or the instructions we specified as part of Copilot instruction and executed it. We have passed an issue to the agent. Agent taken the issue and the repository as context completed the implementation end to end. We started our journey from the issue by clicking code with Copilot Agent Mode. There is no other interactions or commands we passed to Copilot Agent. It completed the implementation. Let us go ahead and install all other dependencies required for my Angular application and run this one. So I'm going ahead and running the application to see whether the Copilot implementation is aligned to my requirement. Let us open the application in the force 200 that support. It's opened. Its bundling is just started and the data is here. You can observe that this particular graph with the market share data, which shows the Intel, Samsung, the data available as part of our CSV file, that is represented here. Our requirement is also that a pie chart to represent top 5 semiconductor companies market share data. And the data is already available, so Copilot is not added any new data, but it's able to implement and integrate as part of our dashboard. This is old version where we don't have a pie chart. the new version have a properly aligned and created pie chart as part of our sales dashboard. In case we need more instructions or more implementations, we can go ahead and continue this conversation with agent mode, or complete the agent mode and start interacting with edit or the chat interface of Copilot to continue our journey of implementation. As you observe, this is one of the very powerful way of converting your issue into an implementation with just a single click. Open the issue, click on Code with Copilot Agent Mode. You will have the complete implementation in your Codespaces. Even you don't need to set up in a local environment. Currently, this VS Code Agent Mode in Codespace is in public preview, and we will be iterating on the experience over the coming months. So there will be some kind of updates, but the experience of a single click from issue to implementation is amazing. Go ahead and try it out. Share your feedback.